Well, hello there, good people, and welcome to Dave Diggs History, the medical edition. I'm the host for the medical edition. I'm Dr. Toombs, at your service. I must apologize for having been away so long from posting new material, but the reason for that should be rather obvious, self-evident. It's been far too cold to do much of anything. And if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure some of you know exactly how cold it has been. But we're back. And speaking of cold, all we really need to get away from this cold spell is an awful lot of heat. Cold creates problems. Heat solves problems. And oddly enough, or perhaps not quite so oddly, that's the subject of tonight's medical episode. This is another part in the Medical Sectarianism series. We've already done the Hydropaths. Now we're going to do the Thomsonians. And this is Samuel Thomson right here. Here's the story of the Thomsonians and of Thomson himself. He was born in New Hampshire in 1769, passed in Massachusetts in 1843. He was born into a farm family. He was the farm boy, hard work working on a farm. He didn't too much care for that. He didn't take to it well at all. He preferred to spend his time with the local root doctors. There were several of them. He expressed an interest in being a doctor. His father had said no. But the people who he was talking to, the root doctors, shared with him their knowledge of essentially herbal medicine. But life sometimes gets in the way. There were, however, 3 incidents that set him on a course to finally create the Thomsonian method of medicine. The first one happened when he was fairly young. He was working out in the fields, clearing some land, and he injured himself with a farm implement rather severely in an ankle. It got worse. It turned bad. Doctors were called, and these doctors that were called, these were not the root doctors, they were the regulars. And we've discussed regulars here on this channel before. They're the ones who like mercury, tin, lead, zinc, arsenic, and copper as medicines, and bleeding, purging, puking, blistering as procedures. They were brought in, treated him, nothing worked. But Thomson had remembered something that the root doctors had told him about a plaster made from comfrey and turpentine. It was applied. He got well. He was cured. He did it himself. Went back to farming. Well, that was incident number 1. The second one involved his mother, who came down with a disease. Again, doctors were called, and again, they were the regular doctors who practiced their poison methods on the mother. And he wrote about this in a book, which would later become the guidebook to Thomsonian medicine, called New Guide to Health, printed in 1822. He wrote of the incident involving his mother. The doctors had given the name, quote, galloping consumption to her disease, which I thought was a very appropriate name, for they are the riders, and their whip was mercury, opium, and vitriol. And they galloped her out of this world in 9 months. He witnessed this, and it didn't make the reputation of regular doctors any higher in his estimation. But then there was the third episode. It involved his wife. Not too long after his mother had passed, he married a Susan Allen. They had a child. The child was fine. The mother, Susan, came down with convulsions not too long after the birth. The regulars were again called in to do their magic, and nothing worked. He was afraid that he was going to lose his wife in the same manner that he had lost his mother. So he said, I'm going to do this myself. These regular doctors cannot cure my wife. And so, using the knowledge he obtained from the root doctors, he saved his wife. She was cured. She became normal once again, lived on for quite a number of more years, producing 2 more children. And at this point, he decided, I'm going to be a doctor. I am going to take my knowledge, add to it with whatever research I can find. I'll come up with my own method of practice in the medical world, and I will let the world know what it's about so that they don't have to go to these regular doctors. The manual that he published, New Guide to Health, 1822, was the first start. At this point, he is now Dr. Thomson, and the Guide to Health was put up in 3 parts. Part 1, a history of his early life, including those 3 incidents I mentioned. Part 2, what were the medicines to be used in his Thomsonianism method? And the 3rd part, how do you prepare the medicines for use in this, that, or the other problem? He also said why he's doing this. And in that book, under the heading on giving poisons as medicine, he wrote, and I quote, "The practice of giving poison as medicine, which is so common among the medical faculty at the present day, is of the utmost importance to the public, and is a subject that I wish to bring home to the serious consideration of the whole body of the people of this country, and enforce the strongest manner on their minds the pernicious consequences that have happened, and are daily taking place, by reason of giving mercury, arsenic, niter, opium, and other deadly poisons as medicines." So the Thomsonian method of medicine, as stated in the book, all you had to do was just get the ingredients and prepare them and administer them. Except, there's one more thing you have to do. Because he considered his method proprietary, if you wanted to find a doctor who subscribed to the Thomsonian method, go look in the mirror, because you are your own doctor. That's another one of his core tenets. You do not need the regulars who deal in poisons and other nasty substances. All you need to do is get the book, look at it, get yourself the ingredients, and if you can't find the ingredients locally, he can sell them to you and send them to you by mail. And there's one other thing you need to make this happen, and that's a license. A license to treat yourself. Yes. He called it a right. He owned the rights, he said, to the Thomsonian method, but he could sell the right to you for $20. Sounds odd, I know. But enough people, approximately 100,000 of them, gave him $20 each for the rights to use the Thomsonian method. That's $2 million. He did not hurt for money, but he was passionate, very passionate about his methods. Because he did not practice bleeding, purging, puking, and all those other nasty things that I mentioned, he found quite rapidly a substantial following among the populace who did not care for bleeding, purging, etc. This set well with them, this set well with Thomson, but not everybody, like the regular doctors. They didn't care much for that at all because they might be losing their patients to him. They might be losing their income to him. So they printed in the paper various mean and nasty comments about him being a mountebank, a crook, a charlatan, a quack. None of it fazed him. He's doing the good work as it should be done. And in the course of his medical career, which was substantial, he published several editions of that New Guide to Health with updates, new information, etc. He also published almanacs. And the almanacs contain testimonials as to the efficacy of the Thomsonian system. which gave him an increased good reputation, but of course did not do very well with the regular doctors. At one point, Dr. Thomson sat back and just reflected on his life as a doctor, and he said, quote, "I have devoted most of a long life to reducing to a safe and simple practice a system of medical treatment that should remedy the evils with which has been afflicted to an invaluable amount ever since the introduction of mineral poisons in the 15th century, which have ever since formed the materia medical, doctors, as they are called, and which are given to cure sick men, though sure to kill well ones if administered to them." His movement gained traction, was a substantial influence on other sects, which we very well get to, and a year before he died, he had a wish. Here's what he wished for. "I wish while living to see my system promulgated, if at all in its purity, and when dead, handed down through others who will not let it fall back again into the pernicious practices that have so long plagued the world under such high-sounding names as learned quackery." Well, let me ask you this. Do you think his wish was fulfilled? No, it was not. Samuel Thomson was the man with the will, the power, the strength, with the fire in the belly to make Thomsonian systems work. Once he passed in 1843, there wasn't anybody with the same qualities of will and determination to take his place. Others tried, others worked on it, but they didn't have the same fire that Thomson had. And by 1900, Thomsonianism in this country is all but extinguished. And that's the story of the Thomsonians. Next time, we'll take on one of the other sects. Which one it will be is unknown. I go wherever the research leads me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for attending. I hope you found something interesting. And if you would please, a like and a subscription will go a long way into allowing other people to find this material and perhaps benefit from it. Until such time as our paths cross again, I have the honor to remain your most respectful and obedient servant, Dr. Toombs, coming to you from a long time ago. And if you will excuse me, somewhere around here is a cup of coffee with my name on it, and I'm going to go find it. Thank you so much.